Welcome to Rising Tide Startups, where we chat with startup founders and solopreneurs just like you from all over the globe. During our chat today, picture yourself starting your own startup journey. If our guests can do it, you can too. Every episode of Rising Tide Startups is sponsored by Podbrand Media. Let Podbrand create and host your company-branded podcast. Learn more at podbrandmedia.com. This is Rising Tide Startups. My name is Kevin Pruitt, and I have my good friend Nick Petros on with me today. Nick, thanks for joining us on Rising Tide.
It's good to be back. So December 2021?
Oh, man, if that's the case, it has been far, far too long. And, mea culpa.
Might be older than that, ancient history, but that makes me glad. Great to meet you. Great to be back doing this together.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking time. I actually was on LinkedIn the other day, and I saw that you had a new thing going, and I reached out to you and said, "Hey, I want to hear the story behind this." But before we go there, just remind people who Nick Petros is. Like, if you and I met at a networking event, how would you introduce yourself?
Terribly. I'm awful at talking about myself. You talk to a lot of founders, right? I think some people just have an itch of like, there's a better way to do this, and they can't like see it completely, but they know it's there. So it's difficult for them to kind of accept the structures that are currently here. And I've always kind of been that way. It's been extremely expensive to operate this way, but informative too. And it allows me to live with purpose, which I couldn't be more grateful for. And we talked, so when we talked last time, I was working on MyDash. MyDash was great. I'm glad we kind of put that on the shelf a couple of years before AI populated. So MyDash was it was a data integration service. The problem was it's so difficult to pull data together from different sources that people didn't have full visibility into how the business was doing. But today you can do that at the push of a button. AI can suck it all in and standardize it for you in a second. So we kind of wound that down the second we saw this becoming something. And the vision there was that we would actually be the platform that integrated all the data. So you'd build AI on top of us, but they beat us to the punch. But good problem solved. Like problem solved, doesn't matter if it's us or somebody else. In parallel to that, to the main business that we spun MyDash out of was PinchForth. That kind of started as an agency. My background was growth marketing for a couple startups. And PinchForth kind of started as an agency. I said yes to 3 companies at the same time and started taking on other projects. And, I think the agency space got really toxic really fast. It got competitive, it got poaching, because I'd say for every one company that's actually really good at doing growth work, there's 10 companies that are better at saying they're good at doing growth work.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of infighting and like who has the better presentation and who has better testimonials. And it's not like all of the big agencies, if you look at any of them, and the honest ones will admit this, like they got lucky landing a couple amazing brands that they got to ride the wave with. Our biggest brands, same thing. I think we did good work for them, but like, you ever see an agency deck and they're like, we took this brand to 30 million. It's like, no, you didn't. You were with them when they grew to 30 million, but you aren't the reason. At least we can say that. But outside of the agency space, I realized that the main problem, the reason why there were like 30,000 digital marketing agencies 5 years ago, is that founders don't really know what they need. They know it's a fiercely competitive market and they need to be competitive and have as much leverage as possible. So they wind up buying things they don't understand. And like marketing was a big case of that. But what I realized is the more they consumed, the more specific they got. So we had our first client ever at PinchForth is actually still with us, which is amazing, feather in the cap. But it's been wild to watch. It's a big old professional services firm, but watch the founder of this company kind of evolve over that period and what he's focusing on and what he's aware of and what he's testing. And it gets progressively more tactical. So what I realized was, people don't so much need an agency to just kind of do it for them. They need specific expertise. And the more we went down that rabbit hole, the more we realized that, in all of like the top echelons of professional, the whole professional realm, everything is based on skill. So you and I were just talking about football, like, when you're thinking about trading a player from, Dallas to Green Bay, you're not looking at his high school transcript. Like, you're looking at how he performed. Like, what is this guy good at doing? It's the same thing in professional work. You have these 19-year-old kids that have not graduated college that are getting $200 million from Meta because of what they built. It's all skill-based at that level. And I just started thinking, hey, wait a minute. It's skill-based at that level because that's where the value is. But everyone has skill.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the people at the top that have skills. It's just the people at the top are really, really good at showcasing their skills and applying them. And you combine that, the fact that the best performance comes from buying skills, with the fact that there's this push towards remote work and this push towards fractional work, which is kind of doing something niche for multiple companies at a time instead of, one full-time job. It was like, hey, wait a minute. Finally, we have an opportunity to match people's skills with the need for those skills, and allow companies to get the leverage they want at a cost savings, while also allowing labor to multiply what they're earning. So say you have like a really random skill, like you're amazing at making memes that people like a skill that's potentially meaningless. There are a lot of folks who get a lot of mileage out of keeping their social engaging. So you find like 9 or 10 brands that want you to make a couple memes to juice up their social feed. And it's worth $1,000 to them. Maybe the brand's doing $3 or $4 million a year. Not a huge brand, but $1,000 is nothing to those guys. Suddenly, you're making $120,000 a year making memes. Like,
yeah,
it's a skill,
exactly.
and suddenly that skill has a value. Maybe it's not huge, maybe it's not millions, but you can make memes from the beach or Vegas or Bali. Like, you can do that anywhere you want. So that's what Freely is kind of becoming. We're trying to kill the resume and bring that skill type acquisition into the hiring space, so companies can go right for the skills they want, and people can build their fractional career without having to learn how to do BD and cold calling folks and like learning how to pitch and sell. Like the platform does all that for you. By the time you're in a conversation, the company knows what you're capable of doing. They want that thing. So you're talking about something really well. And we have a couple bonus features that we use to actually kind of help you turn every conversation into a customer. So it's real easy to build a book of business and kind of branch into this fractional life without going through all the roller coaster the rest of us have had to for the last 6 or 7 years.
So differentiate this a bit from what's going through my mind about this is a Fiverr on turbo. What's the differentiator?
Yeah, so Fiverr is interesting. So Fiverr is skill based, but it's a proper marketplace. So like you go to Fiverr and there's 50,000 people who can make it. We'll stay with this memes analogy. There's like 50,000 people who can make memes for your social. Some charge $5, some charge $200. The problem with that, it's the same problem with the sushi menu, right? Like you go to a Michelin star restaurant, there's one thing on the menu, and you get it, and it's amazing. And part of the amazingness of it is that you don't have to think. Versus the sushi menu, where like you have so many decisions and you never know if it's the right one, and your partner is stressing about choosing the wrong thing or wishing they got something else after they ordered. Like Fiverr kind of does that, and it also forces your focus into the price. You start commodifying what you're looking at. You forget about the value that you need. So again, bringing it back to the meme example, if you're doing 3 or 4 million a year and you want someone who makes really funny memes in your niche to juice up your social feed, you don't care if it costs $5 for the meme or $1,000. You care that the memes are good.
Yeah.
Because the value is greater than either one of those costs. But what Fiverr winds up doing because of its marketplace is it commodifies it. Now you're price shopping.
It's like a race to the bottom.
It's a race to the bottom, but it gets you away from the value, Like we're talking about football again. Parsons is getting paid $47 million a year to be a pass rusher. The guy who led the league in sacks last year is getting paid $30 million a year, and it's not like, oh, 47 million is way better or worse or whatever. It's not commodified. It's just one team has a need for him that's worth 47 million. And that's kind of what we want to do with the fractional space. Like we want to get away from price comparison and focus exclusively on the value that you want. Because the value that you want should justify the price that you want. You set the budget yourself. You're competing with your own budget instead of other people's.
And so what's the pricing model with, like, if I'm on that and I'm a meme generator, that's on there. I mean, so if you're on there, you're going, okay, hey, I really want that guy in that funny blue hat, to do memes because I really like what's in his portfolio or whatever.
Let's make it even more relevant. What if you want to launch a podcast, and you need someone who knows how to launch a podcast and produce them and post them and actually manage that for your business. And you actually need a host too, because you know that you're not going to be able to be there extracting the data every week. You'd come on to Freely, and we force everyone to think in terms of the buyer journey. That's a personal pet peeve of mine. I think people think that services exist randomly, but you need to put them in a structure, and your customer defines the structure of your business. So we force you to think that way. And a podcast is something at the discovery level. So it's all the way up at the top. So you go up at the top, I need something at the discovery level. You see there's this podcast service. And right there, you wouldn't see Kevin. You would see for this process, we can build and produce a podcast for you. We can ship 2 episodes a month. We can host the podcast for you. We can make show notes. We can distribute it across all these platforms. And it costs XYZ for fee. If that lines up with what you want, you click it, and immediately everyone on the platform who can do that gets pinged. And the first 3 or 4 who respond are immediately entered into a conversation with you. As a business owner, you pay nothing. There's no fee for that. It's the providers that pay, and the providers get to screen the business owner too. So if that was your listing, you'd be able to say, hey, this company is at this size, they're doing these things, they're in this location, they've bought the service before, and you can decide, hey, this makes sense for me. And the fees to talk to a company range between $49 and $100. So
they're pre-qualified leads for the providers.
Yeah, real time pre-qualified. So it's not like you're getting contact info. If you push the button, you're in a chat immediately with the person.
Right.
That's the model.
Yeah.
And now here's a quick word from one of our new sponsors on Rising Tide Startups.
Every episode of Rising Tide Startups is sponsored by Pod Brand Media. So you started your own company or branded podcast, and now it's fading. Let Podbrand give it new life. Check out podbrandmedia.com to learn more. Is there anything else out there similar to this, or that? I mean, walk us through the sitting at the sitting on the airplane with a cocktail napkin, and kind of charting this out, because so many times on the podcast I've interviewed people, and they've done this because it was like a personal itch they had. They were scratching their own personal itch. But this doesn't necessarily sound like that was the case, because I think this is just your creative flywheel that was taking on the place of everybody else in your network.
Well, kind of, right? So yeah, I guess I don't need Freely, but I have a personal I met with this guy the other day. The company's name is Zir AI, and he was actually on my podcast, Bad Ideas, and he took credit for destroying cold email by making data super available, so everyone spams everybody and it's not responsive anymore, which I thought was fascinating. But I think there's a lot of people in the market today that pollute go-to-market. Like lead gen is this complex thing, and cold outreach is this complex thing, and you forget that it's just people talking to people. It's this. This is BD. There's nothing else to it. If you can get into the conversation, that's everything that you need. And I think people get so distracted in I'm going to make this plan and I'm going to make this hunting practice and everything, that a lot of innovation is suppressed. People don't start because they think it's going to be so hard to actually go to market and build what they want to build, that they never get off the ground. So that's kind of where Freely comes from. It's like, well, wait a minute, businesses are looking for this stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are they looking, they're angry. Like they post a job, they get 600 applicants today and they don't know who to qualify. So if we can give them line of sight, like these people are actually good at this thing. Is this the thing that you want? Here you go. There's 3 of them, not 600. And there's 3 that really want to work with you because they just paid a fee to talk to you. So everybody's getting what they want. And that's the vision. I think the average fractional job, $1,000 a month to, $15,000, $20,000 a month. So paying $50 for that is kind of a no-brainer. And there's around the world, there's 1.2 billion people that are doing some contracting out of their main gig right now.
Wow.
And that's like they want to do this full time, but can't. So if we could be the bridge, and it's scarcity versus abundance. All the current platforms are scarcity models. There's like a job, and everyone pays to compete for the job, and it's a race to the bottom, and it's commodified, and like nobody wins. Like the people that win are the ones who spend the most on the platform, which is kind of antithetical to what I'm trying to do. It's like there's all this labor power. Why don't we just let them work with each other? And I think we can make that happen.
What's been the response? I mean, it's a relatively short, time frame, I guess, that Freely's been launched. So
yeah, it's buggy as hell. It's been 3 weeks. We just hit 750 users. We haven't.
And these are providers, users, or businesses looking.
Both. The percentage of businesses is super high, which is wild. We have to verify everybody. So, because it's all about response time, that's one thing that's really different. Like you can't log into this and then leave and build your business. If people are pinging you and you're not responding, we kick you out.
Yep.
But same thing with the businesses. Like because it's free for businesses, we have to make sure that like you're a legitimate organization. You're not spamming our providers, and they're spending money to talk to you and you're not there. But it's hundreds of businesses, several hundred providers now, many of whom we already hired on the PinchForth side. So they're super vetted, really, really talented people. And we're just starting to roll out our promotional strategy to kind of make it bigger. So I think timing's good. The math I'm looking at over the next 30 days, Freely should grow faster than allegedly the U.S. economy grew last month. So that, I mean, it's a low U.S. economy number, but it's a good number for us coming out of the gate, and I think we'll have a pretty meaningful number by the end of the year.
Is the model it sounds like to me that it's somewhat transactional, like based on the leads, the connection that you make. But is there any ongoing connection? Like what's the glue, or is there any residuals or anything built into the model?
Well, so there's pieces, right? The app is gamified. So one thing that we're learning how to communicate to our users is like on every other network, you're applying to jobs, sending out proposals, contacting people, all the stuff people hate. On Freely, you kind of like Thanksgiving dinner each other, when you like tear each other down and make fun of each other and whatever. But the crux of the platform is crowdsourcing. We call them skills. It's a skills platform. So what you do, you make your profile, you can list 3 top skills, and that's what you link to customers for. And you can change them whenever you want. That's free, but you list 3 top skills, but you spend your time on the network establishing expertise by kind of critiquing and helping others develop their skills. And we use that data to triangulate what you know really well. So if you have something on your profile and we see you commenting on that all over the place, you get a really high score. So you're at the top of the list whenever someone hits a skill that you're linked to. We're thinking about adding some kind of like bonus boost for a fee where like if you're paying a fee, you don't get to the top because that wouldn't be authentic, but like you get in like the top 20%, for example. And that would cover the cost of real-time notification. So like the fee would be your proxy for logging in and contributing all the time. Then you wouldn't have to log in, and we'll pay for the cost to send you text messages when someone wants to hire you. But the idea is like not to milk people. I think there's way too many businesses. I mean, I'm still getting billed from LegalZoom account I canceled 3 years ago, which is insane. I'm fighting this legitimately. I have the cancellation email, and they're like, no, But there's too much of that. It's not honest revenue. It's like, oh, my MRR is huge, but 80% of the people don't know I'm charging them. Like that's theft. That's not
the Planet Fitness model.
Yeah. And I think in reality, the demand for labor is so high. It's insane. It's ridiculous that more people aren't finding work right now. I think it's just discouragement more than anything.
Yeah.
That by connecting businesses and companies, you create more opportunities, not less, to connect businesses and companies. Like the value they creates more jobs, which creates more need, which creates more jobs. It's a nice wheel that grows everything. And that's, maybe pie in the sky thinking for me, but I'd love to make a little dent in that. That would make me feel good about what I'm doing.
And as you talked about fractional work, I mean, it does tend to be, it can be very short term. You're doing project-based work, and then they're right back in the platform trying to generate more.
So one of the things we do, so the actual user experience, and it's the same for businesses and for fractionals. We call everyone fractionals. There's no freelancers on Freely. You're a fractional whether you're at the C-level or the expert level. That's our terminology. When you enter into a chat, so you pay your $50 after you qualify the opportunity, like this is worth it for me, I'll make some money right here. When you go into the chat, you have the business, or the business has the fractional, but both of you have a little sidebar directly with our team. And that's not visible on both sides. That's just private for you. And what we do there on the business side, we help make sure the business is being realistic about what they're asking for. Because there's a whole crop of companies that try to take advantage of people or squeeze them on price. Yeah. And we don't handle the billing. We will in the future, but we don't right now. So 100% of the fees go directly to you. So we try to make sure both of the parties set up the engagement well to work together well. And we also use that interaction to qualify them for future matches. So what we're trying to do is really make it easy. So if someone wants 10 clients, they spend $500 with us, they got 10 clients. The relationship is set really, really well for them to go forward. It's in their zone of expertise, so they can deliver really good work. They're not going to have the churn that normal people would. I mean, normal people, what happens is you wind up taking like 70% of projects that you don't really want to, but you have to for the billing.
Yeah.
You don't do a great job on those because it's not your zone of expertise, or it's maybe overscoped, or it's underscoped. You're charging a third of what you really should be, and that's what creates the churn. Then both parties aren't happy, and I was talking to a guy last week. This dude was I hope he doesn't watch this. He was the entrepreneur in residence at Google, and he's doing consulting engagements at $3,000 a month. It's like, are you kidding me? That's insane. That's ridiculous. And there's so many people who'd pay way more, but that's just a classic case of, he needs to hit a certain number. So he's taking on little projects to make sure that he's there. And it's a spiral from there.
That's amazing. It's going to be really interesting to see, because I think you're right. I think the timing is really good for what you're trying to build. And it'll be interesting to see the kind of the two sides of this marketplace, meeting in the middle and trying to start, really build relationship more than just transaction. So, and I love the sidebar idea, with where you're, kind of maybe coaching on the side, like like sometimes I'm on the phone and my wife's over there going, "Don't say that."
Yeah. Both sides get burned so much. I mean, there's so many times I've talked to businesses who, they hire a software development firm and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be 20,000 for this thing." And by the time they're done, they spend 85 and they don't have what they want. And it's like, it's a trap strategy, because once you're in it, you're promising, other business divisions or partners, you can't just pull the plug and go to a new vendor.
Yeah.
You're stuck, and that scope creep, and it's not entirely the business's fault. Sometimes the business says, "I want this thing," but they don't scope it the right way, and they start injecting new changes. So just by simple sidebars, we can help mitigate a lot of that before it even starts, and help both folks see each other for what they really are, and buy what's there instead of what they hope is there.
And Nick, I love just just the times that we do get to just chat, because you're one of the most creative people I've ever met, and just absolutely amazing flywheel of creative ideas. And I know that you've got that genetic disposition to be that way anyway. But if there was a tagline for Freely, if there was like a one line, kind of what's the DNA of Freely, what would that be?
Yeah, work the way you want.
Work the way you want. I love it. So is that actually in the branding?
No, we've been kind of developing it behind the scenes, but for both, for fractionals, it's like do work the way you want to do work, and for businesses, it's get work done the way you want it done. Because I think if both parties had access to that, they'd do a whole lot more, a lot faster.
Man, what a great story. It's one of those things you need to put it in the calendar to circle back in about 6 months or 12 months and say, okay, this is what it looked like. This is what we thought it was going to do. And now this is actually what it did. But hey, buddy, thank you for taking time just to share the story and catch back up. It's always good to have you on, and always an entertaining episode. But as we just hear you talk about the latest things you've got going on, and you've always played your part in helping all boats rise in a rising tide. Nick, thanks again, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
We hope you heard some great takeaways and are now ready to take action yourself. As always, thank you for listening and helping all boats rise in a rising tide.